All right, we're live, everybody, and welcome to Happy Smarts Happy Hour on the 11th of July 2020 with Luis Gallardo, who is, I just found out he's in Lafayette. Is it in, what is it, Illinois?
Actually, this is in Indiana.
Indiana, okay. So you've
Yeah.
actually crossed borders into a neighboring state. And you're en route. You just told me that you're in transit from Chicago to Miami with your whole family.
Yes, with the whole family. It's amazing. We took these 6 days in order to actually taste what it is to be on the road for a while instead of getting a plane. And now there are planes already. But yes, on the road,
Wonderful.
enjoying nature.
I love road trips. And a couple of guys are saying hi to us, Roshni and Siddesh. Very good evening to you guys in India. And of course, it's morning here. And Rangarajan is here as well. You might have noticed that instead of Melanie, Mel, there is Elena here, L. And that's because Mel is on a road trip too. Okay. She's on a road trip from Austin to Colorado. And maybe she'll join us in the future. But for now, she's on a road trip. And I have a surprise guest for you later on who's going to take Elena's place and ask questions from the audience. Okay. See a bunch of people saying hi. Hello, Vivek. Hello, Heather, Janvi and John, Vajayanti, etc. So very happy Saturday to you guys. Okay. And a very happy Saturday evening to you in India and a morning to you guys in America and in Europe afternoon, etc. So we have a very exciting session today. Luis Gallardo. And for those who do not know Luis, okay, he's got a very interesting background. He used to be the global head, global CMO, sorry, I should say, of Deloitte, based out of New York. And he quit that job and ended up pursuing his passion, which is to enhance the happiness of people around the world. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys can empathize with this passion, right, of trying to enhance the happiness levels of other people. And so do not look any farther than Luis Gallardo. He's going to be our poster child today, inspiration, and he's going to tell you how to do it, okay, if you're interested in doing something like this. Maybe you don't want to quit your job. Maybe you just want to create a happiness initiative as, say, for example, a chief happiness officer in your organization or as part of HR. He's going to do that. But first, I'm going to turn to Elena. Okay, we were just about to embark on this topic, and then it got cut short a little bit because of lack of time. But just to give you a little bit of background, Elena and I were chatting about 3 months back about all the people we'd love to invite on the Happy Smarts Happy Hour. And her number one name was Luis Gallardo. Okay, so I still haven't found out exactly how you got to know Luis and why did you nominate him. So can you tell us a little bit about your kind of knowledge about Luis and how you got to know about him, Elena?
So I know that Luis is the founder of the World Happiness Fest, and this is how I got to know him. So I wanted to bring World Happiness Fest to Peru because we never had one, and so we were supposed to have this Happiness Week here in Peru. I wanted Peru to participate. I got so much inspired after the Happiness Camp that that I spent with Raj, and so I thought, we should bring something like that to Peru. And so I started searching for a place and making arrangements, and I got in touch with the people from Spain. When I then found out on the website, because I checked the website before that, and there was nobody in Peru, but then I found out that there was already a person doing that, so kind of host, Agora host. And so I contacted her and telling her, oh, Monica, hello. Actually, I didn't know that you were already organizing it. I'm also doing the same thing. And she was like, how come? They approved that a few months ago, and I've been already busy organizing everything. So I was like, yeah, me too, actually. And so then I talked to Spain again, and I told them that there was a person. And we met with Monica, and we had a very nice meeting.
Like face-to-face?
Yeah, face-to-face. We decided to meet.
So this was pre-pandemic, right? Face-to-face was allowed.
Yes, actually, that was March 1st, right before my birthday. Yeah, and we met, and she said, we felt this connection because, well, we're also Pisces, the zodiac sign, and also we were like, she's a coach. She wrote books. She's a very interesting person, and she inspired me, and she said, yeah, no, it would be great to work together, and so we keep in touch since then.
Okay, wow.
That's
okay,
amazing.
so a lot of stuff out there, information that you threw out at us. And I don't know if you guys caught some of that stuff about the World Happiness Fest, for example, the Agora. She also mentioned Spain. That's because Luis is originally from Spain, even though he lives in the US now. So the World Happiness Fest, okay, big deal. And you started it, what, about 5 years back, Luis?
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. Well, these are fantastic. Elena is super good, because I think that the story you told is the story of what we would really want to achieve with the World Happiness Fest, which is anybody, any person can embrace happiness. So we say it's not about being happy, it's about being happiness. Because when we embrace it, we can really transmit it, and we can really inspire other people. So what you did in Peru is really the essence, is really the seed of World Happiness Fest. And Fest is about celebration. Somehow when you get to the summit and you see, then you have to go down to the valley and you have to celebrate, and you have to bring your wisdom and your inspiration with everybody. So World Happiness Fest is basically celebration of happiness as a human right. We want to be the stewards in many ways of two resolutions. Not the only one, of course, is one of the hopefully 10 billion that there will be in the planet by 2050. But we want to be stewards of two resolutions by United Nations. One is the International Day of Happiness, March 20th, and the other one is happiness and well-being as new paradigms for human development and progress. Those two resolutions invite all countries around the world to create policies, measurements, and initiatives that get human beings closer to full flourishing, and how beautiful that is. So I think the essence of World Happiness Fest is to celebrate, is to share. We believe in an economy of sharing, and it's about it's a gifted economy. It's gift sharing celebration are at the core of this beautiful movement that has been around, yes, for a bit more of 4 years, and have many our hosts around the world, and hopefully we'll get to 2050, bringing tools and bringing wisdom and insights to as many people as we can. So that's the kind of the genesis.
So you've had it for 4 years, started in Miami, I think the very first year, right? And then next year was where? Somewhere in Mexico?
Yeah, San Miguel de Allende, you were there, my friend.
Oh, San Miguel de Allende, that was the second year. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we met in Bhutan, you remember, right? But then from that moment, we've been sharing so many moments in different locations. So the second one was in San Miguel de Allende. Probably is the ranking, the National Geographic ranking says that is the smallest town, basically the most beautiful, smallest town in the world. It's a small town full of artists, and we had these amazing villas, Villas Chichu hosted by Gloria. And that was an amazing garden. It was like a Epicurean garden with everybody sharing around villas and with that central place. And that was there's a cube base and fireplace. We like to think that when we get together, that's a secure place. Mm-hmm. It's like when you have a chimney and you're with your family, you know that the fireplace, when you get to base camp, when you are climbing, that's the space where you say, okay, I'm home. Mm-hmm. And this is the feeling that we want to create when we do that. So San Miguel de Allende, and then we did Mexico plus the first year of virtual agoras. So that's when we brought the concept of wherever you are in the world, let's connect. Mm-hmm. So actually we got Zoom as a strategic partner, and that was 1 year before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So actually we were completely trained to do virtual events.
That's good, yeah.
So when we got to this year,
which was in Barcelona.
Yes, but actually you remember it was the lockdown in the world. So actually everybody had to move to virtual. And for us, it was like, sure, let's do that. Yeah, so this year was amazing because we have all the other hosts joining virtually. We miss face-to-face, but we are now getting ready for next year. So yeah, so this is going to be the 5th year in 2021. But this November, we are now organizing what we call the this is nature. This tree is alive.
The tree loves you. It wants to hug you.
You think
I love
we are creating the secure place here, the secure place. So this November, we want to do a global, an online summit with all the 80 Agora hosts, bringing their own agendas, their own audiences, and their own communities. So we are going to do something earlier than March, and then we'll do the next again in March.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. And maybe you guys caught this, maybe you didn't, but it is the World Happiness Fest. It's going to be a little bit earlier than March in 2021. And it's going to be online, even though there will be a geographical location where it is, or no?
Yeah, one of the concepts that I love system dynamics. And system dynamics, MIT, Jay Foster from Albany University was kind of the engineer that started creating that. But when you think of systems, in systems, everything is connected. So you have different levers. It's not just input output. It's not like I put a coin in a Coca-Cola machine and I get a Coke. That's input output. I put some money, I get that. But actually, we forget that in order to do that, there is a whole system there. There's somebody who brought the can, somebody who made the machine, somebody who actually gave you the coin at some point. It's you with your own system. So normally people don't get that there's a whole system around everything. So for us, the World Happiness Fest is a system. The system means that if you only have one center, you're going to miss the power of polycentrism. That's why polycentric is key here. So even if we may have a main center because there are more people, every center is as relevant as the other. That's why we call this polycentric approach. And in this case, it might be Elena in Peru, or it might be Monica with Elena, or it might be Janine in Chile, or it might be Viva in India. It doesn't matter. We all are connected, and everything is one center, and as important as everybody else.
Okay, so it's going to be polycentric and no one location. So just to answer John's question, 2021 it's going to be virtual. It's going to be online. Okay. All right. So let's jump into some of the meaty questions, Luis. Okay. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your journey. You were global CMO of Deloitte, and was there one incident that made you feel that, you know what, I want to devote my life from here on to the pursuit of happiness, to enhance the happiness levels in the world, etc.? Or was it just a small, slow, kind of a slope where you just decided over a period of time to do this transition?
Yeah, I think that every life is a journey. And at some point in life, you realize that you've been doing something in order to do something else. And this is, and I like that a lot. Sometimes you call it synchronicity. Sometimes you call it manifestation. Sometimes you don't have a name for it, but it happens. So now when I look back, I still remember being at high school, deciding what to do after high school, and I say I want to be a biologist, genetical biologist. But at some point, for some reason, I changed my mind the last minute, and I did political science. I did sociology. So I got into, instead of understanding cells, I went in order to understand societies. And now that I think of that, I realize that actually what I like is to understand things. And it might be a cell, it might be how community works. But right after I finished my college degree, I took an MA in peace. So for some reason, I say, okay, I want to do something else. And I had the option of doing MBA or doing an MA in peace studies and conflict resolution. So I say, well, how cool it is that there is an MA on peace. Is that true? So, and I was in Richardson.
Where was this? Which university was it?
It was Richardson Institute in Lancaster University in the United Kingdom.
In the United Kingdom.
So actually, I was between MA in Richardson Institute or Peace Studies at UPeace, Costa Rica.
Okay.
And then we can talk about global happiness, because now we have this amazing program at UPeace. And that was my other option. It's like I go to UK, I go to Costa Rica. I did peace, and immediately I joined the international observers community. So in this case, I was representing Spain, but as part of the United Nations and deployments into conflict. Basically, you have a war, and then you want to bring democracy, and you bring international observers to make sure that the democratic process is fair. And I was in several countries. The first one was Bosnia, right after the civil war, and my place was Srpska Republic.
Which year is this in Bosnia?
I think the first time I went was 1995.
And it was like middle of the war.
It was right after there was the ceasefire. Then the parties get together, they decide to open, and there is a first election.
Okay.
Imagine what you see there.
Okay, so tell us just a little bit of background, okay? I've always wanted to know this. Bosnia was previously what was called Yugoslavia.
Yes.
Which was divided into 4 regions, was Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Herzegovina, right?
Montenegro.
And a couple of them were Muslim countries and a couple of them Christian countries, and they were fighting with each other, correct?
Yes, I mean, this is one of those examples of what the world is today about. You can put labels to things, and you say Muslim, Serbian, Muslim Serbic, Croatian, Serbic. I mean, you can start putting labels, but
Right.
the reality is that what really goes inside all these conflicts are labels. When you start labeling things, and we are seeing that in the US now with race, right?
Yeah.
And the moment you start labeling, you start creating the other.
Right.
When you create the other, you have the option to differentiate, and you have the option to say at some point, you are different to me, I feel fear, I'm gonna defend myself. So this is the origin of most conflicts, which is fear. What happened in Yugoslavia is that under Tito, there was an empire. There were so many different communities living together in peace under one ruler. At some point below, you have many, many other politicians and many other people who want to accumulate power. And we've seen this. This is part of how the world works.
Yeah.
You have individuals who want to accumulate power. And then you play with symbols. You play with rituals. You play with egos. You play with those drivers that really drive human beings. And that will happen in Yugoslavia. At some point, there were so many communities with so many leaders that they wanted to be independent. And at some point, some of those leaders started to propagate the idea of the other and fear to the other, because if we don't do something, they are going to kill us. And when you get the combination of fear and hate, then that's the Molotov cocktail that you just need. And the moment you kill somebody, then you have to defend your family. And the moment you defend your family and you kill somebody else, the other family has to kill somebody else. And that's how all these wars start. So what happened there is that at some point in one same building, you had Muslims, Christians. I mean, you say religion, but most people were not religious.
Yeah. But
they were speaking a different language. And in the same building, they were killing each other because neighbors to neighbors. And at some point, there were many Serbian living in Muslim areas and Muslim living in Serbic areas. They have to move back and out of the regions, and they were basically they were trying to survive. Most people try to survive. The worst part here is that the Serbia government decided to really kill, and they got all these special forces and they created a situation that was dramatic, really dramatic. And then it stayed for many years, and it was an example of how the international community didn't do anything at all to stop it for years. It's similar to what's going on in Syria right now. It's like every time you hear what's going on, but nobody does anything. So this is, honestly, when we talk about critical points in my life that say why happiness is key, that was the moment. And there was one moment where I really say I have to do something with I didn't call it happiness at that moment. I call it non-hate, non-fear. It's like there's something that has to be opposite of hate and fear. And it was one day during the elections, actually the first day of the election, the schools, the voting polls, I mean the kiosks were opening at 8 a.m. Well, it was 3:30 in the morning, and then were women, especially women, above 65, 70 years old, in line waiting for the school to open. There was so much hope. These people, and they wanted to really show that they wanted peace by showing up and by voting. When I saw that line of women, and there were so many people killed. This was Srpska Republic. It was hundreds of thousands of people, mass graves everywhere. But regardless, you have this line of people, this line of women saying, no, I'm here because I have hope, and I know that we are going to do better. When I saw that, it's like, oh my goodness, hope is really one of those things that can overcome fear and hate in many ways. And that opened my eyes. But something that happened after all that process, I met so many diplomats, and I was 22, I think, or 23.
Wow,
and I was
really young.
I had so much energy. It was right after the MA. And I saw the diplomats, and when I saw them there, I say, I don't want to be like them. For some reason, it was like, I'm not these people. So right after that, I moved out, and I went to work as an intern to Paris in a marketing agency, and that's how I moved into something that I thought it could be kind of proactive and really active in changing the world, which is basically create jobs.
Okay, so hang on. You're 22 years old. You're like on a peace mission, and this is with the UN, and you're in Bosnia, and you see the war and the effects of war, and you see this long line of women standing in front of a school, and that gives you hope. And you say, okay, I want to now devote my life to non-violence and stopping hatred, etc. And then you kind of move to become a consultant in Deloitte. So you kind of put this on hold for a long time to pursue a more practical career of some sort, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that what happened is that I saw that it was so easy to create a war, and it was so difficult to actually repair. So when I saw all these people, it's like, well, it's going to take generations to change this. And then I saw all these diplomats who were like, I mean, we were sleeping in camps, in tents. We were in hotels. We know walls because they were basically full of ballet halls, or halls made by ballet. And people were complaining, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, they have to sleep here." Right? And I was like, "Oh my!" But we are in the middle of this, and people are saying that this is not the style of life they want. It's like, I don't want to be a diplomat like that. So actually, I really wanted to be a diplomat. That was my path. But when I saw the reality, it's like, I don't want this. So for some reason, I'd say, okay, I have to find something where I have to make impact quickly. And something that I saw that happened in the world is that entrepreneurs were actually creating already value during the war, because what happened here is that many Muslims had to leave Srpska Republic and go into other regions, and other people have to come back from Serbians have to come back to Srpska Republic. So there were some business entrepreneurs. The business was to actually put in contact somebody who left one home with somebody else who took a home, and they were exchanging homes.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, they created a sharing economy already by saying, "Oh, this was your old home. You're not gonna come back." This is so they were connecting, and I said, "Well, look at you. This is really bringing solutions," and the solutions were coming by entrepreneurs. So I say, "Okay, let's explore the part of entrepreneurship," and I went into basically creating my own agency, a small agency, as a journalist, because then when I was working as a journalist with one magazine called Entrepreneur, so I was the guy taking and writing about gurus, about management gurus. So I had the luxury of interviewing from Michael Porter to Edward de Bono to Roosevelt Moscanter to Gary Hamel, all these number one gurus of management. That was my job, interviewing them. And that was cool as well, because I was learning from a business side. And at some point, I always wanted to do my MBA. So me interviewing all these people was kind of cool. But yes, I put a bit on hold all that, and then I moved into business.
Okay, good. So I'm going to have Elena ask any questions if she wants
Yes.
to now.
Thank
I
you.
do want to very quickly, though, before you jump in, Elena, I want to very quickly point out to all of you guys who are probably experiencing that, right? You're really interested in happiness, and that's your passion, and you want to enhance it. But right now, you have to do something practical and meet, sorry, not meet, but pay the bills, etc. Don't lose hope, okay? Because you can come back to it, okay? And maybe we can hear a little bit from Luis on how he maintained that fire, so to speak, and passion for happiness and peace while he was doing a very conventional job. Okay, over to you, Elena.
So I wanted to ask, so we know happiness is, this whole new world, and now there's more interest in happiness in the world, in the whole world. So why did you call it exactly Happiness Festival? Why wasn't it just Peace Festival or Joy Festival or Well-Being Festival? Because happiness is not just the opposite to the war, but it also is, the whole lot of other things. So how did you come up with that idea?
I want to piggyback on that. Okay, you have coined this term capitalism. Okay, and my family heard it for the very first time yesterday, capitalism, and they immediately felt so attracted to the word and said, "Oh," my daughter said, "I wish I had coined that term." Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what do you mean by capitalism, right? And maybe what is the currency in capitalism? In capitalism, the currency is money, capital. Okay, in capitalism, what is it? What's the currency? Okay, so why happiness? Yeah. Elena's question, and then how did you come up with capitalism? What's the currency?
Okay, in this case, maybe I'm wrong, but I was using my branding and marketing hat, because part of my life was learning about peace, about the sources and the roots of peace and conflict. My other part is understanding and managing a business, and it can be a small, medium, or big size. And my job has always been, how do we create value propositions? So we think strategically about what everybody understands in life and what everybody wants to get to. When you ask 8 times, sometimes you only have to ask one.
Yeah.
Why you are doing this?
Yes.
I want to be happy. Sometimes you have to go deeper.
Yeah.
But maximum 8 times you get to happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you discover some of my idols, which is the Dalai Lama, which is Siddhartha, which is...
Have you met Dalai Lama?
I met him, but I haven't spent quality time.
Okay.
But I watch everything he says. And at some point, sometimes you don't need to meet people. Yeah. Although, yes, I've been around, but it's not like quality time. But I met Sadhguru, for example, and we've been together with Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
All these mystics are really special mystics. I mean, that's another. Let's get to mystics.
This is why I'm wearing Indian clothes, Luis, because I know that you have an Indian soul.
Yeah, I think for sure. Mexico, something that I love of Mexico is that what it means to be a human is to be Mexican.
Yeah,
But
Mexico,
actually, because
beautiful.
it's very ancestral when you go to the shamans, but it's very similar to India at the same time. Okay, so why happiness? I think that is the right word for the world we are gonna live. So we are not ready now because still happiness. Many people struggle because it looks like fluffy. It looks like this is our contentment. This is our party. It's so funny in the UK. What they did, instead of having a ministry of happiness, they created a ministry of loneliness.
Yeah.
In Dubai, they didn't have a problem creating a ministry of happiness, but in the UK, it was ministry of loneliness because happiness is lofty, right, in many ways. But I feel that peace, something important with peace. Peace is understood as the absence of conflict normally. But actually, when you go deeper into peace, you have positive peace. And positive peace is when you get into the side of growth. So if you combine positive peace with activators to positive peace, the activator is happiness. And then you have activators for happiness. So this is really interesting because you can activate happiness. Happiness activates peace. And then if we incorporate the concept of consciousness, which is probably my Indian soul, that's key. Because the moment you start raising consciousness, I love the map of consciousness by David Hawkins. Sorry. So it's so interesting because happiness is nowhere in the scale. So if you remember the map of consciousness, you can get into alignment, and the first level before is love. Then you go below, and you can be rational, or you can be at peace. Below 200, frequency vibration is all about what the humanity is in 80%, which is hate, which is fear, which is judgment, and so on. But actually, it's so funny, it's so interesting, and this is part of the research. I want to go deeper, so right, we have to talk about this because what Hawkins research is that you can be happy at any level of consciousness, but the more conscious you are, the more chances you have of being happy, and the happier you are, the more chances you have of being conscious. So I think that the combination of freedom, happiness, and consciousness is the core of human progress. And I haven't done the right research, so I want to actually at some point I want to do my PhD on this: freedom, consciousness, happiness, because that core is the real deal. Peace, yes, we want to get to peace, but at some point, peace is not enough to get to 10 billion happier human beings by 2050. We can be all at peace. At some point, you will have people who are going to be suffering, and maybe because of mental reason. Because something that I love of the term of happiness is that it has a lot to do with thoughts. It has a lot to do with your brain, with your mindset in general. And peace is not about that as much. But yes, and I love to combine peace and happiness. That's why we created the program, Gross Global Happiness at the University for Peace, United Nations University for Peace, with Mohit, with Julia, with Hannah, the team. And this is next year is going to be the third year. And that program is focused on peace and happiness. So it's a long answer, but yes, we pick very strategically the word. I still remember calling Richard Layard, economist behind the World Happiness Report, and I asked him, I want to create this forum, World Happiness. I don't want to call it forum because it's the World Economic Forum already. Should I call it happiness or well-being? That was my question to Richard. And Richard said, of course, happiness. And then you talk to Richard Layard, to John Hollowell. I interviewed him this week. It's spectacular. He's the co-editor of the World Happiness Report. And you go deeper, and you know why it's subjective well-being. Because we understand that happiness is subjective well-being from a research point of view. we have to go into the subjective, because when we go into the subject, we can go deeper into the unconsciousness. And when we go into the unconsciousness, then we can really get to consciousness. I think this is what I have in mind, and why I'm choosing that word and the celebration instead of being more formal.
It's good that you want to do work in this area, Luis, because the word consciousness is a deep word, and I think that it can mean different things to different people. And to start with a good definition of it that everybody agrees on to begin with, right? I think would be a good step. And I do think that it's very right for, just like happiness was 20 years back. People thought of happiness as an abstract term and really can't be researched. And now, of course, it's accepted as a topic. And now I think consciousness is there now, like happiness was some years back. Okay, so in another 5 or so minutes, I'm going to pull up our special guest for today, and hopefully for a few more sessions in the future. Her name is Gayatri, and she's going to take Elena's place because Elena's taken Mel's place. Okay, and going to field the questions that you guys have. So please do type in your questions, guys. Any questions that you want to ask Luis, okay? Please do type it in, and Gayatri will be fielding those. Meanwhile, Elena, so do you have any other questions?
Yes. So, Luis, can you say that happiness is your personal value in your life? And if that's so, how does that manifest in your personal life?
Great question.
Yes, I love it. And that's probably why capitalism came to life. Because, as I told you, I have a politics, sociology background. I study all the isms, from feudalism to capitalism, to any ism that you can imagine. When you talk to Hollywood and you talk to all the economists, these economists that are now even Kahneman, we need new currencies. We need new ways. So somehow I feel like, and you interviewed Sonia Lubomirsky the other day, she's the one that says, oh, well, the genetics play a big part. I think that from a genetics point of view, I bring in a positive charge. So I think I have an advantage because I'm kind of optimistic. I've been optimistic all my life, and I know it. But at the same time, you feel somebody can feel many people around. You feel a lot of sadness. Or I feel a lot of sadness, a lot, and that's because I feel people, and there are so many people who are really unhappy. Actually, yesterday, just going down the elevator in my building, because it was a Friday and now they are opening to visitors. The elevator was stopping almost in every floor, and you realize that people were coming in and they were complaining because the elevator was stopping. So I feel that pain, and I was like feeling like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's gonna stop 30 times, and the same guy is gonna say another time. So that's so funny, because it's like, okay, in that moment, basically what I tried is to get into myself and push a bit of a good energy, because at that moment you realize that you change the vibration and you change the energy in the room, and at some point people start relaxing. So yes, I somehow that's the way I see capitalism. Capitalism shouldn't be another ism. It's like thinking that we need another way of doing things, and now it's up to every human being to put the ingredients. For me, capitalism is my life, is the way, answering to your question, Elena, is the way I walk the talk. It's like I try to be kind, I try to be insightful. I feel a lot of sadness, a lot, and that requires that I get into meditation, that I get into using tools that relax myself as well, because I feel everybody's sadness. And in this case, answering as well the question before about currency, this is the beautiful thing. The key currency for capitalism is time, it's not money. And imagine how beautiful it is that now we are spending an hour and we are creating so much value. I mean, you cannot put money into this value, because the value is for ourselves. So actually we are creating happiness without taking happiness from anybody else. This is beautiful because in a monetary system you give in order to take. It's all about the scarcity. When we have abundance, and this is what we have in the world, these three around, you realize that growth mindsets, abundance is what everything is around. That it was is around. You cannot limit that, and time, which is timeless. Actually, time doesn't exist. Then we actually put some definition there is the key. So the currency for capitalism is time, and for me, happiness is time well used.
That's great. Okay, so since you asked this question, Elena, I'm going to pull Gayatri up and I'm going to introduce her. But people can, in the meanwhile, say hi to Gayatri.
Hi.
And Gayatri can say hi back and wave back, etc. So, Elena, let me ask you this question. You're obviously interested in happiness too. And so you asked Luis this question on his own kind of journey for happiness. Why is happiness important to you, Elena?
Well, I think that I love people. That's my main inspiration. Some people love nature. That's their inspiration and main source of energy. For me, I think it's people. And I even love music that has lyrics in it when somebody sings it. So that's why I actually started teaching, because I wanted to help people. And through teaching, I feel like, first of all, this is the exchange of energies, teaching. And second, it's helping people to achieve their goals. In my case, I help them achieve their goals in terms of languages, because I'm a linguist and I'm a language specialist. But I also like to help them in another way. I like them to spend the best time in my class. I like them to leave the class feeling better, rather than when they came to my class. I always feel responsible for that time, because it's true that, and when I used to train teachers, I used to tell them, it's true that students give us money for the classes, but they give us something more and more precious than that. They give us their time, and we are so much responsible for that. Those 3 to 1 hour of the class, they could spend with their family, they could spend with their boyfriend, girlfriend, doing anything they love, but they came here. And we can't make them feel worse. We have to not just teach them, but we have to also make sure they want to come back and they feel good in our classes. So that attitude always, that's just the reflection. I feel like I'm not just teach, but I don't just teach, but I also help people feel better. And so they get energized, they feel better, they leave my classes, they maybe have some food for thought after the topics we discussed, and they want to improve their lives. They know they want to manage their time better, they want to stop procrastinating or something like that. And so that's my path.
Okay. So you like happiness because happiness matters to people, and so when you teach languages. By the way, guys, Elena is a teacher of not just English, right? Not just Spanish, not just Russian, but also happiness. Okay. So if you guys want to learn any of these languages from anywhere in the world, you know who to contact. Okay. She does these classes online. So please go ahead and take advantage of it. That's beautiful. Okay. So another person who's a happiness expert, and very much along what lines of what you do, Luis, is Gayatri. Okay. So I met her maybe 5 years back in Chennai, my hometown. It was during a kind of a meetup, Aloha meetup, a Life of Happiness and Fulfillment meetup in Chennai. I used to do more of those then. Now, unfortunately, not so much. But I met her there, and I was really impressed at everything she does. Her title is Gayatri the Trainer. Okay, Gayatri the Trainer, and she trains people into leading happier lives. And she's a psychologist, and she works for NTT Data. And when I realized that Mel can't be here, I thought, okay, maybe Elena's seen Mel, and so she can take her place. And then I immediately thought of Gayatri, because not only was I very impressed when I met her 5 years back, but she's been a regular attendee of the Happy Smarts Happy Hours. And so over to you, Gayatri. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, a couple of sentences, and then you can tell us which questions caught your eye.
Sure. Right. Thank you, Raj, for having me here in this program. And it was great meeting Luis and being part of this program as well. I've always invested this happiness time, 1 hour that just goes by. So every Saturday, I keep looking forward to it. I've also believed that world requires happiness. And when I took this course from Coursera, Raj's completeness, wherein it talked about the complete happiness program, I was completely wonderstruck with it. And from then on, I've been connecting with Raj on a frequenting basis. And it's been a wonderful journey from there on. And being a psychologist and getting into training has always helped me to connect people. And I could touch upon that happiness aspect, and I've ensured that this adds value to them. And they've always come back and told me all my programs have been a value add to them. They were able to change that part of whatever to change in, which boosted my energy even further, because I've always been looking forward for those kind of living in with the change as well. So that brings them happiness a lot about, and it's been close to my heart. And when Raj said I need to moderate with respect to Louis, and I was all the more happy to be more happier than what it has. So it has been great. And so thank you. And L also, I've always been wondering. So I was telling L, so I've been a great admirer of L as well, as she has been interacting. Sure. So moving on, there is a question from Tushar, wherein he asks as to how can fest enhance one's ability for appreciating beauty, realizing truth, purifying heart, the essentials of true happiness. So that's the question that he has for Luis.
Yeah,
How
I
can-
love.
Yeah.
I love the question because somehow it answers itself, right? It's just appreciation. Actually, that reminds me a lot of the questions that we asked Ravi Shankar, Raj, because it was very similar. And I think, and this is what I love about the opportunity that we have today in the world, with understanding that everything is fluid, and understanding what quantum physics is telling us, which is the observer changes reality. And this is beautiful because the moment you observe, the moment you are an observer, you don't realize, but the reality changes. So you want to see beauty, you have to observe beauty. It's like pure imagination. So you can view the world you want to view. And this is fantastic because yesterday, for example, when I was talking to Raj, I was imagining that I was going to be in nature talking, and now I'm in nature talking. And, yeah, but I woke up this morning and I asked my wife, "Do you know where can I find a spot?" She said, "Well, there is an amazing bank. I mean bench outside in nature." So it's like, of course, I view beauty. Now I see beauty. So this is what we have to do with everything and with the fest. And the fest is the realization of the future of happiness. That's how we position it. We realize the future. Realize, I love it because realize is bring to reality. And we are bringing to reality every single second as we observe reality. So my answer is there, become an observer. And then that's it. But you have to be an observer with your eyes open. So it's not just a bystander. It's not just, oh, look at them. Something is going to go wrong. Sure, that's so easy. No, this is like, no, I'm observing what I want to observe. And that's going to be the realization of happiness. So that would be kind of the
So I have a question, a follow-up question, kind of. You said that these happiness festivals are now going to happen online and polycentric, etc. Now, how can somebody from India or Nepal or China, wherever, how can they get involved with this? Is it okay if they write to you?
Oh yes, they write to me. Well, we have Elena here as part of the team in Peru. Yes, it's so easy. You just join the community, and then you are gonna be an active observer.
Okay.
I love the way Elena is positioning that. I teach English. I teach happiness. I am an active observer. This is the type of people that we need in the world, active observers. And you can observe anything you want. But just you can contact me, just send me an email, or go to the website. But you can, contact me.
Okay. So and what kind of help or volunteering are you looking for? Do you want people to organize sessions, or get people that would be good speakers for it? What kind of things can they do?
Yes, everything is super experiential. It's like, for example, when we talk about compassion, it's not just an hour talking about the essence of compassion. It's actually and we've done this with Christina many times. It's like she can talk about self-compassion, but then you have a 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes workshop. Instead of workshop, we call them be shop because it's a shop to be. So this is the focus. It's like, yes, we have theoretical framework for almost any topic, and then you get into action. So the way to volunteer is to bring great ideas. How can we learn heart to heart? How can we explain things by living them? And then how do we personally want to talk? And if we talk about kindness, how do you experience this? If we talk about peace in a positive way, how do you experience that? So volunteers is all around actually taking the lead in organizing, bringing topics, leading groups, and you don't have to. I mean, you can do this with your family, or you can do this with your team at work. We have agoras in companies, in universities, in institutions. It's just a question of saying, yes, I want to talk. I want to realize a future where happiness is the ultimate concept.
Okay, so if you don't mind, Luis, I'm going to ask you to, in the comment section, just type in a few details, maybe your email and then web address and stuff like that, and then just give them a little bit of a tip on how to get involved. If you don't mind, if you do that after the session is over, I think it'll be really, really useful. All right, yes. Back to you guys. Unless, Elena, you have something to say. Otherwise, next question from Gayatri.
Well, maybe just if you could, maybe one of the questions will be about that, or just maybe we could connect that in one of the answers. Maybe a little bit of your personal tips that you could share for happiness, something that you do and works for you, and something that you maybe share with your friends so you help them with that way.
By the way, Luis, I love the nature behind you, but the nature is not quite loud. Okay. Just so you know. And so we're not able to, at least for me, it's a little bit difficult for me to catch everything you're saying, just so you know. And I don't know if there's a way to protect the mic. And I don't know if other people are having that problem, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's yes. Okay, so yes, my tips are definitely nature. So even noisy nature. I love what I call power meditation. So power meditation is, for example, I love living by the ocean. And power meditation for me is that I go in the ocean and I stay for as long as I can keep my breath. But I use the actually breathing. We breathe out without bringing air out, but focusing on meditating for 1 minute, minute and a half. That power meditation is amazing. It refreshes so much. Just being in the ocean is powerful. But when you actually meditate underwater for 1 minute, just 1 minute, oh my goodness, that's the recharge completely. So nature, meditation, and then definitely be with people you love. So that would be my 3 things. And read, you have to be reading stuff you love. So do things you love, be in nature, and meditate.
Yeah, this is why I love the Happy Smarts community. These are people I love, and it makes me feel good. Okay, this is my weekly boost.
Yeah.
Gayatri.
Yes. So there is this question from Veena. She says that how can we bring capitalism in our day-to-day life in these difficult times when there is so much uncertainty?
Amazing question. Love the question. And this is the moment when things go high. I mean, when things go low, we go high. Okay. So the virus is going low. The virus has a low frequency, really low frequency. This is the moment to go high. Actually, I was listening to to the Nobel Prize laureate biologist Montagnier, and he said that we could treat the virus with waves. So we won't even need masks. What we need is waves, is the right waves going into the spectrum of the virus. So this is the moment to go high frequency. As we all know, high frequency is about really walking the talk around things that elevate frequency. And what elevates frequency? Well, smiling, loving, doing things that you love, doing things that you like, and understanding that sadness and fear and hope and happiness are not opposite. This is super important. And this is something that you learn when you talk to really good psychologists. Happiness is happiness and happiness. Sadness is sadness and no sadness. So there's always a spectrum with all the emotions. It's from no emotion, no fear, fearless, to a lot of fear. But it's not like I feel fear, I don't feel sadness. No, you can feel sadness and fear at the same time. And you can even feel euphoria at the same time. So this is a question of really understanding that there's a spectrum for all the emotions. And in order to go into high frequency, we have to understand that. And we don't have to, we have to stop things. We have to embrace them. The moment you embrace them, so right now, if we have uncertainty, we embrace uncertainty. That's what you do. So of course, it's uncertain. Everything is uncertain. I feel really bad. I know. Okay, let's go explore. Let's go and see. Let's get our sadness, because the moment we get our sadness and we understand it, we are gonna grow. So this is the beauty of embracing emotions. The moment you get them, they dissolve. So that would be my recommendation. Embrace the dissolve.
Okay. So I actually have a, sorry, Gayatri, but I did like
Yeah.
Dawn's question here as well. So I noticed it, and I
Yeah.
want to ask it
Yeah.
on the kind of comparing and contrasting capitalism and capitalism, right? And one of the differences I imagine you would say is that capitalism is about money and capitalism is about time, and that is the kind of currency of capitalism. You said, is there anything about capitalism that is good? That is that it's aligned with capitalism, or everything about capitalism is bad? You know, what is the, if you compare and contrast those two, are there any points of alignment?
Yes, absolutely. I think that for every season, there is a reason. And there was a moment for feudalism. There was a moment where basically you had one guy owns all the land and everybody was for these people. And there was a moment, and people might say, well, thanks to feudalism, we were able to work the land. That's how we move from farmers into something else. But should we have feudalism right now? Is this the right moment to go back to feudalism? Well, I'm not sure. Maybe some people think about that. So capitalism has been amazing. It's been incredible, to move societies into a level where we can understand that we don't need too much. We have a lot of everything, and actually, COVID is giving us the opportunity, and it's giving us the call to action to say, guys, are you sure that you need all this stuff? Because for 3 months you've been at home, and you probably didn't use as much as everything you had before. Something that is very different between capitalism and capitalism is that capitalism, the base is scarcity.
Is what?
Scarcity is that lack.
Yes.
Because normally in a capitalist economy, you want to have exclusivity of resources, because that's the way the price is going to go higher. Today, we are living in a world of demonetization, decentralization, democratization, and digitization. So we have disruption that is bringing everything into access. It's giving access to everybody. So you cannot be scarce of things, because if everything is available to everybody, well, it shouldn't cost any money, because then you're going to lower down the opportunity to give access to those resources. So I think right now, capitalism is being great to move us into the state we are, but we decided to use measures like a gross domestic product, a GDP, that are completely wrong, and I'm measuring the wrong things for happiness. So we cannot be just going beyond GDP. No, we have to change. We have to change that, and we need to go into something new and something else. So what I would like, what I love of capitalism is that thanks to the system, we've gotten where we are now. But now we know enough in order to say, okay, enough is enough. We need to move into something else. And that something else has to have the real currency of life. And the real currency of life is happiness. And the real currency of life is the time that you can use to be happy and to be happiness. So it's not like we have to kill capitalism. No, we have to go beyond and we have to transition. And it will take decades. It might take centuries. But I think the moment you start visualizing and manifesting, it's going to happen.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And by the way, guys, it's 11 right now. So we are kind of like done with the hour. I do want to very quickly mention Beth Wooler says, did somebody says the session happens every week? Yes, indeed. And it's called Happy Smarts Happy Hour. Please do join us. You're in, Beth. That's happy. That's very good to know. So I'll see you next week again. And Isabel says, Luis, you make things so simple when it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Okay, so that's true. Okay, you make things feel simple, and you just exude a sense of positivity and peace and energy, which is so great.
And great energy that you can even feel online.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's right.
Thank you very much. And Gayatri, I don't know if you had one last simple question that can be answered quickly, and then we're going to unfortunately have to close.
Okay, a quick question. This was from Vaijanti. She says, any leads on the behavioral manifestation of peace, happiness, and consciousness?
Can you repeat that? Any
leads on behavioral manifestation of peace, happiness, consciousness?
Yes. Wow. This will be the ultimate state, right?
Right.
It would be a state of, but honestly, Raj, I see your face now. Elena, Gayatri, I see your face. This is what we want. It's not more than this.
Okay.
It's like, that's it. It's a state of being where we feel at ease, and everybody can feel whatever they want to feel. But when you go to the root, when you go to the seed, everything makes sense, and you are in a space and in a state of bliss in many ways. Some people might say ecstasy. Some people might say peace. Some people might feel, I might say, free of fear. This is beautiful. I have so many friends that say, I only need to feel that I'm free from fear.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there. Free from fear.
Free from fear. All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much, guys. As usual, it was awesome. It has boosted my Saturday for sure. And I love you all. Take care and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.